For the Press Corps, I'm Geoffrey Jennings. We interrupt this program to bring you the latest news from the Siva Valley conflict. Here in the 108th conflict of the Foxhole War, it's day 72. The Mainland continues to see big pushes in the periphery as field guns, armored cars, and gunboats arrive in the war. A reminder that the Press Corps is focused on Able Shard. Combined casualties for this war are over 887,000. The Deadlands is the deadliest region with over 133,000 total dead. That's nearly 15% of all deaths in the war taking place in that single region. These numbers provided by foxholestats.com. Our top story: in the Deadlands, colonial troops have their backs against the wall after a successful Warden offensive across the River Mersey. One of the last legionary holdouts in the region lies in the salt farms, which faces an attack along a wide front from two different directions. According to reporting from PressCorps Warden correspondent Dr. Ponsonby, the 82DK has claimed responsibility for all major operations in the region, with Abandoned Ward and Liberation Point to the battle surrounding the southern regional border. In an impromptu field interview with the good doctor, 82DK's Commissar Avidus explained how his regiment was assigned the central region by the Callahan's Ironclad Alliance, or CIA. The Warden-based group is reportedly an organized council of regimental leaders with the purpose of coordination, in particular regional force distribution. Not much else is known at the current moment, or if the information provided by Avitus was necessarily true. What is known is that 82DK has poured substantial manpower and resources into the salt farms fight. The Colonials have opted for a defense-in-depth strategy, erecting several layers of trenches and bunkers about 150 meters away from the town itself. At one point, over 25 back-to-back grenadier charges by waves of mammon-wielding Kriegsmen took place in just 1 hour. The Colonials do appear to be holding for now, however, with the saving grace being the choice to use separated bunker segments of 3 to 5 pieces each, diminishing the effectiveness of each human wave attack and maximizing the Warden supply bleed. This has bought the Collies time for counterattacks to begin. The lines are currently pushed to just outside the Pitt's relic base and a diminished Warden presence at Sun's Hollow. Still, the colonial center across the entire war remains in jeopardy. Should the salt farms fall, the previously safe regions of Lochmoor and Umbral Wildwood could see breakthroughs across the open plains, if Collie engineers are unable to establish a defensive line strong enough. Taking a quick look at Marben Hollow, a potential Warden flank around Maiden's Vale has been pushed back, with parallel pushes from the City and Spitrocks relic base taking place among the canyons. The colonial positions in the region appear to be holding for now, even in the east in Osterwall, despite regional intrusions by Warden forces. In Sleeken Shelf, a successful colonial push into that region has managed to establish a foothold. The region had seen sporadic fighting near the coastlines at the start of the war. The observation tower near Southwind Relic Base had seen multiple raids since day 41, with the Collies constantly destroying but never capturing it. Finally, on day 57, Southwind Relic Base was captured by legionary forces. From there, they battled it out across the snowy fields of Sleeken Shelf until capturing the town of Vulpine Watch on day 65. Old Morn Relic Base was next captured by a large force of 40-plus colonials on day 68, and the Warden Industrial Park just north of that relic base was overrun, taking out multiple bunker bases and facilities. Now, Thornhold Relic Base and its industrial park are now under direct threat, as well as the Warden Eastern Front as a whole. Fortress Westgate has been broken into for the first time this war. After the inability for colonial forces to break into Feranic Coast, Warden troops pushed their offensive further and captured the Gallows on day 55. The town's safe house was cleared the following day, as well as a successful push to capture the Holdfast relic base. Currently, a colonial counterattack has managed to retake Holdfast in developing events. Still, this is the furthest push southward of the Sievish advance, with green facilities being caught in the crossfire and eliminated. Should the Wardens push to the central city of Kingstone and the Great Wall, a collapse of the region is theoretically possible. The Colonials, for their part, do have flank opportunities from Rancher's Fast Relic Base northeast, as well as the neighboring region of King's Cage. If the Collies can hold the line and exploit any openings along the regional border, they could yet save the western front of the war. In the Claustra, Colonials have made gains in the eastern half of the region, taking Weep Home on day 50 with an attack from Endless Shore, followed by the capture of the surrounded East Narthex on day 56. Wardens in the Vault and Third Chapter in the north of the region have established defensive lines along the bridges and mountains to stave off further advance, although fighting is being reported between 25 plus Colonials and the local warding garrison attempting to maintain the line. Colonials have pushed out of the treasury, and a reported break in the line around the Vault is currently being exploited. It is unknown how the Warden defenders have managed to recover from that break, and if they can hold the line around the Vault further. In the Godcrofts, we had been reporting on the colonial holdout at Lipsia Relic Base since the opening week of the war. We can now confirm that the base fell on day 59, mirroring the fall of Silver Relic Base after a spectacular holdout by colonial troops in Orebreaker. In Stemma Landing, the situation remains fluid, with the Wardens attempting to solidify an encirclement around Alchimio Estate, and the Collies constantly breaking it to maintain their supply routes. What we do have is a report from PressCorps Colonial correspondent Moth B. Mann, reporting from Desolation Beach, circa days 65 to 70. We'll read an excerpt of that now. At the isthmus that separates the grim and bleak regions of North and South, war continues on. Despite the distance from any major conflict zones, the region of Stemma Landing has seen its share of combat. I had arrived at the worst possible moment for a reporter, as there was now rain falling at a steady pace, and all the combat had become centralized at a position where movement between either side was locked to a narrow delta between Warden-controlled Spearhead and Base Fervere, currently in colonial hands. For the last 2 nights, the Colonials have been counterattacking the Warden forces on this strip of beach, attempting to force them into the ocean. Progress to the northwest was halted by the narrowing strip of beachhead, turning into a glorified sandbar, where only infantry and small vehicles could pass through. It was here that the Legion began to dig in, placing sandbags and stacking them up to create a barrier between them and the Wardens. The article continues on, but we'll skip to the very last paragraph here. The battle here at Desolation Beach could end at any moment, and it wouldn't matter in the slightest in context of the big picture. A narrow strip of land with no resources and hardly any solid foundation to build upon. That has been the culmination of over 2 months' worth of blood and treasure for both sides, with victory resulting in no guarantees, no assurances of resources or positioning. It could all be undone by a fortnight. That report and prose coming from PressCorps Colonial correspondent Moth B. Mann, Stemma Landing, circa days 65 to 70. You can find that article soon enough, as well as other currently published articles on PressCorpsGaming.com under the PressCorps Bulletin in our news kiosk. In other news, as gunboats continue to deploy en masse, river navigation is increasingly looking like a specialist skill. User u/MWSoldier on Reddit posted footage of a gaggle of 5 Warden gunboats attempting to make their way through that river. From the footage, it appears only 3 gunboats wide could travel along the oceanway, though it isn't confirmed where the footage took place, and it should be noted how ununiform the whole of the entire river is, River Mersey in particular. Still, this has raised questions about the viability of large ship deployment, particularly the future battleships passing through the river at all. Finally, looking at the weather, light rain has been reported in Westgate and Stema Landing, with mud just beginning to become an issue for infantry off-road, especially in trenches. Make sure to stop by PressCorpsGaming.com/weather for the latest weather readings gathered by our volunteer Storm Chaser Corps, and become a Storm Chaser yourself. For the Press Corps, I'm Geoffrey Jennings. Thanks for listening these past few hours with this broadcast. This will be my last one, at least for today. Good night and good fight.
The Press Corps is an all-volunteer creative collective of reporters, broadcasters, artists, and more from the MMO video game Foxhole, developed by Siege Camp. Our mission is to engross our audience in and amplify the stories of this unique war ecosystem. The Press Corps was founded in 2018 by former Planetside 2 Radio Free Auraxis host, CaptainInArms. It is a separate community entity and is not officially representative of Siege Camp. For more information, visit our website at PressCorpsGaming.com. That's PressCorps gaming.com.